What's happening, YouTube? What's going on? So I'm back with Endless Yoga. I miss ya. We're both sitting in something called the Garland pose. I've been practicing this pose maybe twice a week or something like that for a while now. I don't know exactly how long, but I have to say that this freaking pose, man, is a really worth it pose to sit in. I'm gonna sit in this pose for like 10 minutes or so. And so just to review, I'm sitting in deep, so my back is arched, so that's getting a stretch, and my glutes are getting a stretch, and look at my freaking, I have to make sure to always keep my wrist down, so my wrist is getting a stretch, and my knees and my hamstrings. And this freaking pose is really, really, really worth it. I can tell you right now, especially someone like me who's constantly exercising, throwing myself around, is freaking perfect, man. And so I want to get to this topic that came out of Don't Diet, Fix the Programming, Talks 15 and 16. Those go together. And so what hit me was that I was talking about how I've been overeating since childbirth. And when I said that, I immediately said, I have to make a video and make that the topic. Because that's a pretty bold statement that I've been overeating since childbirth. And it hit me when I saw someone feeding a baby, right? And there's a point where the baby turns her head, or turns his head, like no more. But then mom, being the good mom, goes right back to put more. And sometimes there's a struggle. Mom is trying to put it into the baby's mouth again when the baby's already moving her head away or his head away, and they're doing this. I could almost kind of freaking sense that happening with me. Or it could be typical with most babies, and it could be very typical that us trying to be good parents, we're going to want to make sure that the baby is nice and fed, because we don't know. We don't maybe see that the baby is turning their heads because they had enough. And so, okay, so we're good parents. We're going to double check. Sometimes the baby goes and has more milk. But I'm not too sure now if they just gave in, or if they really need it, or if they're just freaking eating on the kind of eating, but that they don't need to. See, this is a real big question that I'm here to talk about. Because the system, the way they have us, is eat. And eat until you're full. And then we calibrate what the baby's supposed to eat, or maybe we get the info from somewhere that the baby's supposed to eat, you know, drink a whole bottle of milk. But we never talked about that if the baby drank half and the baby's full and the baby's not crying afterwards, then everything is pretty cool. Maybe that's enough. Like, how can I know? But I sense that that's overeating already. Because once I see, for me, this is first personal, once I see that a baby turns their head, man, because no hungry person is going to turn their head. I just don't think that's possible. Oh, I'm really hungry. I want to, you know, eat, and I'm going to turn my head. No, I turn my head because I'm done. I'm finished. Now you give me more, and then I look and I go, okay, maybe the taste, and I go, okay, more. And then turn it again, and then you do it again, and I turn my head again, and you wait a little bit, and then try it again, and I turn my head again. Then you go, okay, that's enough. And so I'm thinking, I've been overeating since I was a child, because that system, it goes into 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, all the way to the negotiation kicks in, the bargaining. Eat all your food before you play. If you want to go out, you have to eat all your food. Let me see your plate. And those type of systems, they already put me in a position to already say, okay, I know I got to eat my food. And then I could go and play, even though I didn't want to. And so then I will go ahead and freaking eat on account that I didn't have to. And now, while I was young, I was slim. But when I think clearly, I was overeating all through those years. Because I'm already in the system. I'm already inside the system of yummy for your tummy, the commercials, and going for the cereals and going for the sugary stuff. I'm already in the system, and I'm already knowing that I have to eat all my food in order to go out and play. I'm already in the system of the breakfast, of the lunch, of the dinner. I'm already freaking trapped in the system. And so right there and then itself is overeating. Because I used to think though, oh man, I'm slim, I could afford it, but that's not the point. I don't think the point is that just because I'm skinny means that I can freaking eat whatever I want. I think that overeating, the way I see it now, is that overeating is overeating, full stop. Not that, oh, when I was 16, I was so slim, I could eat anything, and I was 20, and I could eat anything. It's like, is that so? Because it caught up to me. And so everything that was happening at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 was all in the progression towards freaking getting fat. And I think that counts when I was 16 and slim, and 17 and slim, and 18 and slim. I think it all counted because I was eating freaking so much. By the time I was 20, 21, 22, I was eating so much. And even though I was still slim, people would tell me, wow, man, man, you could eat, man, wow. And I used to remember, you know, the praise, like, oh, yeah, man, I used to feel proud that, you know, I could eat so much and stay slim. And I remember this one lady told me, man, she says, you know, that's going to catch up to you. She told me this in front of an ice cream truck. She said, enjoy, because it's going to catch up to you. And it's like this whole thing of seeing it is helping me so clearly, just knowing that I've been eating excessively my entire life. That right there, just the clarity of it, is put my life in such perspective when it comes to making sure that I'm so straight with my day, and that I really get this really clear sense of whether I'm really hungry or not, whether these hunger pains are just an habitual thing, a hunger, the craving is more habitual, what is it really? And I check to see my level of energy. Because if my level of energy allows me to, you know, exercise and be active throughout the day, and I'm feeling hunger pains, those hunger pains are probably not really true hunger pains, but just cravings that come from the systematic ways that's been imposed through society and tradition and culture, and that the clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, is actually triggering me to want to eat and then making me feel as though I'm hungry when I'm really not. And so goddamn, it's like this right here, this insight right here has me such in check. Has me such in check, because I really now, man, I go and I eat so accordingly that sometimes I nibble. Like today for dinner, I just had a little cottage cheese with fruit. I was like, I didn't really need to eat a lot. I also had a good freaking 3-day, you know, I went away for 3 days, and so I freaking had extra, but it wasn't that much extra. It's so clean, but I'm so on it. And this is because I'm doing these chats and I'm taking a look at things that I never took a look at before. And I don't think that there's no one on this planet that has ever said that we are all overeating since childbirth. I mean, and I'll keep it to me. I'll keep this personally. I'm not going to speak on behalf of anybody else. But this is an insight that's so freaking clear that I can attest 100% that I've been overeating my entire life. Even though I was skinny for years, it was still overeating because I was constantly eating and cereals and then more, and I would do more and more and more, and I would freaking follow the system of eating, following the dinner patterns with the, you know, with the appetizers and the soups and then, you know, the main course, and then the desserts afterwards, and I followed all these freaking patterns. And so those patterns were not me. I was living out culture's patterns, the society's patterns. Oh, it's dinner time, so let me eat. I never got to really censor and go, how am I actually feeling, and what does my body actually needs? And I'll tell you, it doesn't need much. I could get by. Matter of fact, the times where I eat a little bit more, I start to feel draggy. I start to feel a little bit freaking more sleepy. I feel like drained. I don't feel like, wow. And so as soon as I start freaking cutting back and start eating more fruits, and yeah, I get so much energy from it. And so it's clear. I see it. I can freaking decipher the differences in 2 seconds. And so this chat here, man, is freaking an awakening, man. I'm looking at it so clearly, and it's freaking just like a fact to me that I've been overeating all along. If I had 10 years of being skinny, I overate during those times. And what happened to me later on when it all caught up to me, that was all part of it. When it freaking, you know, because if I'm skinny and my metabolism is starting to crash or something like that, whatever it's called, and it's going to lead me to weight gain, then all the stuff that I did when I was skinny is a part of it. It's not separate like I would have done before. I would have been like, oh, when I was young. It's like, no, I partitioned it because I was taught to divide childhood, teenage years, adulthood. I'm taught to divide that, but if I take out those words, adult and children, if I take out the words, I'm one freaking flow. And that one flow had me eating so freaking much that it was going to catch up to me one way or the other. And it caught to me in such a big way that I'm sitting here in something called a Garland pose, trying to set things straight by fixing the programming and not looking towards outwards, you know, fads and freaking programs and counting and doing all these calibrations and calculations. I'm looking inward, and I'm giving my body what it's asking for. And I'm meditating to center myself into that zone, to find out what it is that my body needs for the day, because it changes from day to day. I'm not a freaking robot. I'm not mechanical, so it changes. And so I'm very in tune to what my body needs. And so this is my chat for today. And this is a great insight that's freaking holding me so strong. It's keeping me so accountable. And so until the next chat, catch ya!